I'm going to read the rest of this to be a part of this interview. Again, from your grandmother, I must tell you how conflicted I am about this whole issue of medical marijuana. I'm a substance abuse professional spending my time dealing with soldiers who abuse alcohol and smoke pot, so I fully understand those who want to forbid any use of marijuana for recreational purposes, and I support that. But I also understand that it's possible to use marijuana for legitimate medical purposes, which don't include getting high. I understand that right now the state of Texas does not subscribe to legitimate medical use, but to profile an out-of-state individual passing through a town with no intent to remain in Texas, and the subsequent witch hunt that went on in Brownwood bore no resemblance to justice. I've been serving overseas for a long time and have not kept totally informed on the changes in the society in Texas, but when I left, I still trusted in our justice system. What I've seen happen here has me most concerned. I'm sure the parents of this man would provide you copies of his medical records and histories, letters from his physician, and anything else you would require to justify leaving him to the state in which he is receiving treatment. His physician recently told his parents and other grandmother that if he returned to Texas, he would die. That is a terrifying prediction. You can certainly understand our need to appeal to your judgment for a decision to ensure his health. Thank you for your attention. I respectfully request a response as soon as possible. Respectfully, Janice Gunn, LCSW, BCB, ACSW, MSWAC. I wish I could leave this stuff with you, but I can't.
I would say that I definitely need help in numerous ways. I'm not gonna get a fair trial if I were to go to Texas. Just like, being in the Anderson Valley advertisement here, I was in the newspaper many times, front page, on the TV. People have formed their opinions. People don't know, the severity of, my conditions, or, the truth of the cases, and, it's not fair. It wouldn't be fair.
Okay. Chris Diaz.
He's had asthma since childhood. He's been run through the entire gauntlet of Western medicines for that condition, and has had multiple lung collapses recently, and has moved from traditional medications to cannabis about a number of years ago on the recommendation of his physician in Texas. Classically, cannabis, probably one of its most common uses has been for asthma. And what happens in asthma is there's a bronchospasm, and the bronchi are the tubules that air flows through, and there are muscles around those, and they can go into spasm, and that compresses them, and then the air, when it travels through that obstruction, creates a whistle, which they call rhonchi on physical examination. So it's an obstructive airway disease where it can be induced by allergies, it can be induced, stress can aggravate it, and if you go into a status state, it can actually be fatal. And you can just, your airways shut down and you can't get enough oxygen in to support the brain and heart, and you can die from that condition.
And what is it about cannabis that alleviates it?
Cannabis is a very potent antispasmodic, and so what it does is it blocks that bronchospasm, allows the bronchioles, the muscles to relax, the bronchioles then re-expand, and airflow is restored. And so it's used for decreasing the sensitivity, so there's less incidence, and also for as an antispasmodic, relieving the pressure that occurs when you're in the middle of an asthmatic attack. And this particular case is exactly why Congress needs scientific input. They're dealing with 1920s science, and it really wasn't science at that point. It was just a number of different companies, different industries that didn't want the competition, so they decided to scapegoat cannabis. And a year coming on 100 years later, we're still under the influence of this incredibly ignorant policy that's preventing this plant that has the ability to prevent conditions, the ability to treat conditions. And here we have an individual who knows that this is a safe way to treat a very life-threatening condition for himself, who's being extradited from a state where he has the legal right to use this medicine, and is likely to spend 10, 15 or more years in jail, destroying the lives of 2 children, destroying his life, and it's my personal belief that he will not survive that stay in jail. So it's situations like this where people are being imprisoned for trying to preserve their health that galvanizes my desire to go to Congress. Congress needs a physician there, needs a scientist, needs someone that can help them look at the clear evidence, to look at the intellectual property that identifies the value of this plant, and to stop with laws for extradition and incarceration for someone who has the right to life. And it's through this effort that I believe we can begin to accelerate the changes that are required so that people can have access to this plant safely without fear of incarceration and loss of their families. So in addition to the ability to stop the spasms, it also is an anti-inflammatory which is involved. It's also an antibacterial. So it has multiple facets that would be very helpful to this particular individual and to society in general. If you look at the federal patent, it's all about prevention. And if you prevent illness, you don't have to treat it. So cannabis really is a dietary essential, and I'm hoping that this message gets through to the rest of not only California but the other states that are struggling to attain the right to use this plant as a dietary essential as well as a therapeutic. I have in my hand a patent issued by the United States Patent and Trademark Office in 2009 on the pharmaceutical composition for the treatment of obstructive pulmonary disease, speaking specifically to why cannabis and the cannabinoids have a place. And not only, this is not Cheech and Chong medicine, this is protected intellectual property that identifies the benefits of this plant for this particular individual. And when he crosses a state boundary, he is now going to go to jail for 20 years for treating and taking care of his own health. That is the true crime here that needs to be addressed for him and for any other person who is down this path.